Satnam, yogis and yoginis, hello and welcome. Today we are going to continue with numbers. We've been away from the topic for a while. Last year we were doing a different course on the Yoga Sutras, but now we come back to the numbers. We are going to start today with number 1. And we're going to do a lovely exercise. This is probably my favorite exercise to start learning numbers. So buckle up. This is going to be, I think, a fun video. This is something that I really enjoy. And it's something, this little exercise that we're going to do today is a way to start getting the appreciation of how much we already know about numbers. And even if we've never studied numerology before, we've all been seeing numbers everywhere. And so even if we never called something 1, that was already a number 1, and the qualities of that number were there. And it's just a matter of starting to connect and understand. And well, just let's start right away. And by starting right away, the very first word, it's already number 1, because we start from number 1. We don't start from number 2 or from number 3, not even from 0. Whenever we start counting, we are like 1, 2, 3. So start is a quality that is going to come with number 1. But let's go with the exercise. So the idea for this exercise is, and by the way, this is an exercise that I've done many times already. And I first went to a Karam Kriya workshop with Shiv Charan Singh in France, and it was like an intensive retreat for people who had already been studying Karam Kriya for a while. So I kind of jumped into the deep pool. But coming out of that retreat, I went to India. I was going on a trip to India for a few months, kind of a pilgrimage. And I took a notebook with me, and I started with this very exercise. And the exercise consists in saying, okay, let's assume that we don't know anything about numbers. And let's start from scratch, like nothing. Now, if the presupposition is correct, numbers have already qualities, and every time there is one element of anything, those qualities are already going to be present. So if we start from there and we put one element of something and we observe what happens, then the elements, the qualities are going to rise to the surface. You're going to see them. And we have to understand a few things with this exercise. Is like we have to isolate the number from our perception of the number, which is not easy, because we perceive it from our eyes and our mind and things that we already know. So we have to try to be careful not to add elements to what you are seeing, which is just the 1. And so that's one element that can happen as you look at one number. And another thing is that when we look at number 1, sometimes the number 10 comes up as well, because 10 is 1 and 0, which is 1. And 10 is complete by itself. But let's see how to do this. All right, so enough introduction. Let's go with the exercise. And it's a very simple exercise. And I do this in all the Karam Kriya trainings. I do this in yoga sometimes as well. And the idea is you take one page, one white simple page, and just write 1 dot. That's it. 1 single dot. Now, sometimes I do this in nature. I go out with a group and we just look for a mushroom or a stone, and we put the stone and observe it. So the idea of this exercise is let's look at this one spot and imagine that there was nothing in the universe. It was completely blank. And suddenly there is this one thing. One spot has appeared. And so what does this say to us? So let's start. And this exercise, what I would normally do is, I do this in the class. I put a big white page and I put a dot, or we sit in a circle and we put one element in the middle, like one cup or one tap or something. And I ask the students to just brainstorm. Now, you feel free to do that, and you can do that by yourself on your own time, which is what I did in India a lot with this notebook. But today I'm going to do it with you the way I would normally do it. I haven't prepared today's session, not because I didn't have time, but because I wanted to be spontaneous. And so we're just going to improvise the way I would normally do this exercise. So there's one dot, okay? So if there was nothing before, now there is one dot. This is the beginning of something. So the words that are going to come up, these are words that are associated with the one. So beginning, it's already associated with one. Beginning and start, initiate, initial. So something has started. We don't even know yet what it's going to become. It could be many things, we don't know. But the beginning of something, the beginning. Well, it's only one thing. So it's a unit and unitary. And it's a single element, single as well. All these words are going to be one. They are qualities of number one, yeah? So whenever we do this exercise now, and let's just concentrate on it, and then later you will be able to extrapolate this to a conversation. We are talking to somebody and they're telling us they are starting a new project. Okay, they are in number one. Or they're telling us about this event, this single event that happened. This thing happened. Okay, that's number one. So you can translate that later to anything in life. So this is one unit. And it's a single thing. And this one element, this can be like the most basic unit, like a cell or an atom, a brick building a house. So what's the single unit, the one unit, the most basic and single unit? So the words like basic and single, they're going to be one. Now, if basic is one, base as well, because it's the base, right? It's like the beginning for something that has to come afterwards. So this is the base to something that is going to come later on. So in a way, it's like the foundation of something that's going to be bigger. Like if I draw a drawing with many dots, like one of these arts, puntillism, I think it's called, like many dots. This is one single element, and this is the foundation of the whole painting is just one dot. It's the beginning with one dot. So the foundations of a house are also one, and they are also the beginning. This is the one, the start. We don't start building a house from the roof. We start from the foundations. So the beginning, the foundation, the single, the unit, the cell, the atom. Yeah, when we have an issue in life and we talk to somebody and they say, well, let's cut it down into the single part, the little parts. The smallest part you can cut it into, the smallest portion, that would be the one. And right now it's alone. It's just there. Remember, there was nothing in the universe, and suddenly one dot has appeared. Okay, we don't even question how or why, or there's no question about that. Something has happened. So something, yeah, one thing has happened. And it's alone by itself. So number one has the quality of alone. But watch it, because very often when somebody watches one point and they think alone, they will think also lonely. And that's not the same. So being lonely or feeling lonely, that's much more like the lack of something. So when one dot is feeling lonely, is because it feels it needs somebody else to be with him or with her, right? It needs something and it's missing it. And without it, it doesn't feel complete. Now that's not one, because if it needs something else, then there has to be something else that this one needs in order to feel complete. So that's already number two. So it's already a clue. When we get to number two, we will draw 2 dots. We will do this exercise with 2 dots, and this will come up. The loneliness of being one when there is 2. Yeah, but when we are in the one, this one by itself doesn't need any other. It's fine by itself. It doesn't need anything else. So even though it's alone, it's not necessarily feeling lonely. We could say in a way it is complete, but here is one of the things I was mentioning before. Completion is number 10. Yeah, 1 plus 0 is 1. So it arises within the one, and you could say in a way that this 1 point is complete by itself. In a way, it has a sense. It makes sense, but you could tell that there is so much more that could happen from this point, and it hasn't happened yet. So it has potential to become something else, but it's not yet. So, for example, you could take this 1 point and draw a face with many dots, and then when you finish completing the face, then you would say, okay, now it's complete. Yeah, the one single unit has satisfied its purpose and completed the journey. But at the beginning, you don't even care about this whole journey. It's just one, and it doesn't need to do anything. It doesn't need to draw anything else. So it's complete in that way, but there is a higher level of completion when we see the point within the whole painting. Hopefully it's clear. Otherwise, if you're online, you can ask questions, or if you're watching this video recorded, just write them in the comments, and I always answer questions. So it's alone, but not lonely. And I already mentioned another word, has potential to become something bigger and greater. But right now, it doesn't even care about its potential. It's just there. It's just sitting there, and it's not doing anything also. So inactive. 1 point doesn't do anything. In fact, if it was doing anything, it would already be 2 things: the element and the action that it's doing. So it's inactive, not an action. And if we are going to look at it in that way, there is not even time yet. Because if time was passing by, if the clock was starting, you would have a past and a present and a future. That's already more than one thing. So when you are in the number 1, there is not even time. No time and no space. So even though the 1 has appeared, there's no 3-dimensional space to speak for. This is just a 1 point. And in fact, we wouldn't even see the page and the 1, because that's already 2 things. It's difficult to imagine, and you cannot do this like properly with 1 piece of paper and 1 dot in the page. But you can imagine what is that 1, that there is nothing else, not even the nothingness. Yeah, that's the 1. So time has not yet occurred, which means that just like it's inactive, it's also atemporal, before time and beyond time. And the thing is, time is already, something is happening. Yeah, there is a before and there is an after, which means there is at least 2 points, the before and the after. So time is going to start in the number 2. But you could say, well, if I have a clock and a timer, and I start the timer, the moment I press the button, that's the 1, but immediately comes the 2. And that's how, when we are in yoga, when we talk about the creation of the universe and we draw the ekonkar, yeah? It's ekonkar, it's immediate, right? It's like this is the 1 pebble. If those of you who watch the videos on the Mul Mantra, this is the 1 pebble that falls on the surface of the ethers, and then everything starts from there. Yeah, there's like the explosion of everything happening. This is like the word. In the beginning was the word was with God, the word is God. So this is the first sound of the word, the very first sound, and that is going to cause ripples. But the very first point, the ripples haven't occurred yet. The time hasn't existed, and there is no action yet. This is just inactive, with lots of potential, but no action. No action means also no movement. So I recommend to just look at the point and let it speak to you. Let it say things to you. Just observe it. I'm going to put it more in the middle of the screen. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You can even do tratakam, just looking at the one point and let it say something to you. Well, one thing is if it's inactive, if it's not moving or doing anything, how is it? Because you can be inactive but very passive and with lack of energy or anything. You're just very, very passive, like asleep. But you can also be simply relaxed, not active, but in a state of relaxation. So number one is going to tell us about that. How is number one coming? Is it like very heavy and I say heavy because this is the feeling of unmovability. Yeah, very immovable. And the first element before all the other elements should come, that would be earth. So the beginning, the one start, the one point, it's like connected to earth. Earth is heavy. And when you see this point, it looks, there is some heaviness to it. If we talk about the foundations of the house, the foundations are the ones that are building the earth and the ones who are going to support all the heavy structures above. So this one point is a strong point. Strong, and all those nice words which contain the ST. Strong and stable and steady and still, static. You could even go into stubborn, but stubborn already implies a certain mind. So that's beyond the one. That's somewhere later in the path, actually on the 9, on the other side of the 1. Unmovable. You know, when a person says, I'm not moving, I'm staying here. That's kind of, it feels like a 1, but it's very linked to the mind, like I'm not moving. So that's actually the other side of the 1. That's the 9, which already contains the 7 and also contains the 1. But let's stay in the 1, yeah? But in the 1, you would say more than stubborn, you would say fixed. Like this exercise we are doing right now is very fixed. You have to choose to do the exercise and then not move from it. You may feel even the seduction to draw another point because you want to go, you want to move on, you want to go into the 2 because number 2 is exciting, things are happening. In the 1, nothing is happening. So you may feel that seduction to go into the 2, and you have to be very steady and stable and strong to stay in the 1. And I suggest, I invite you all to try this when you do this exercise by yourself. After watching the video, you can take notes in the video if you wish. All the words that I'm saying could be useful to fill up your vocabulary on the dictionary of numbers. But I suggest to, outside of this video, one day, just go out, go to nature or whatever, get one little notebook with you and do the exercise by yourself. Put one stone, yeah, stable and strong, and just stay still, fixed in the exercise and see what comes up. And just write it down. And what's going to happen is that many things are going to be right. Some things are going to be, you're not going to be sure. But if you write them down, as you progress in the exercise from 1 to 2 to 3 later on, and I suggest to stay with this exercise just for 1 or 2 hours, just 1 or 2 hours, on maybe 1 hour, okay, on just this one dot. And if you stay with it long enough, then if you put one quality that is wrong, it's going to become obvious later on. As you move on with the numbers, that word just will not make any sense. So stay still with the 1, stay fixed. Interesting. A stone. Stone is also ST. Stable stone. Steady. And you will see in this exercise, sometimes it feels like, okay, there's nothing else coming up. And that's your mind speaking. And you have to put it aside. You chose to dedicate 1 hour to the exercise, so just dedicate 1 hour. Just stay there, stay. And sometimes when you think nothing else is coming up, then some very interesting revelations will come. So let's carry on. Let's pick it up from origin. Origin and generate. This is the beginning of something. So the generation starts a new generation of something. Generation is connected to genes. So the genes are the, like I said before, atoms and the bricks of a house, the cells of your body. The genes are like some individual elements which will make up the whole of the body. So genes. And some words are going to be from the 1 and some words are going to be from the 9. They're going to come together. You know, if you did the introduction to Karam Kriya, that those numbers which add up to 10, they are connected. So 1 and 9 is connected. So I was going to go into genie, yeah, jinn and genie. A genie is like this magician who has some magic to do things in a non-rational way, but that's more into the 9. That's more into the 9 side, and that's beyond the 1, but it's very connected to the 1. One point, earth, rock, and stone, and potential to become something else. That is resonating as the seed. This is the seed for something greater. Sometimes we use that metaphor a lot. Yeah. Satnam, Infinity, hello, welcome. Join me in the exercise. If you have anything that comes up, just say it. What is this one thing? And I will connect it somehow. So the seed, we plant the seed in the earth. And the seed is atemporal as well. The seeds can stay for hundreds of years if you keep it in the right temperature and moisture and all that. If you conserve it properly, the seed can stay for a very, very long time, and it's not dead. It's also not alive. You see, when we think that something is alive, there is some biological processes moving. Remember, this is one point. This is before any process. So the seed is like asleep. Remember, one can be asleep or it can be relaxed. So the seed is kind of asleep, waiting for the right environment and the right time for something to happen. And it will need humidity, it will need heat. That's going to be the 2 and the 3. It's going to move on from there in order to manifest the tree that it can be. But right now it's just a potential tree, but it's asleep, it's not doing anything. Sometimes we have seeds of ideas of something we would like to do, but it's just like there, a little seed, nothing is happening, nothing is manifesting. We don't take it anywhere. We don't pursue it. We don't feed it. We don't give any energy to it. And it just stays there. It can stay there for a very long time. Doesn't mean it's dead. It's just waiting for the right moment to put it into fertile ground and add some water, and the process will start. Seeds of karma. Yes. Whatever action we do, that's going to be later. Yeah, one is not an action, but later on, when we actually do any action, those actions will have repercussions, and any sequence of events that we start will have a consequence, yeah, to the sequence that we start, and the consequence is going to plant a new seed for things to manifest later. But if one becomes aware, he can never water them. Yes, that's later. But yes, this can be seeds of karma as well, and they would be stored in the most asleep part of our consciousness, which is the unconscious, the part that is not conscious. So whatever seeds of karma we have, they are in the deepest layers, yeah, of our consciousness, touching the unconscious. That's why you say if one becomes aware, you don't water it. Yeah, but they are by definition, they are in the part that we are not aware of. We are not aware of our karmas. We don't know what did we do in another life. So they are just seeds. But that's another interesting connection, because if the seed is the fundamental element from which the tree arises, for us humans, the seed, I mean, biologically we could say is the cells or the genes, but on a spiritual level, the seed would be the soul. Yeah, my soul is like my seed, and my soul contains the essence of who I am. Essence is another word for number one. And how interesting that when we die, that's when we go through the whole journey, 1, 2, 3, 4, after number 8, and we die, the seed of the soul goes away from this body into a new body, before that, it has to go away into the beyond, let's call it. And that seed of the soul takes with it the seeds of karmas which we may have accumulated. Bija mantras is another kind of seed. Yeah, bija means seed. Yes. So bija mantras are mantras which are like seeds. And I believe they are called like that because they are like planting a certain essence which can be in your consciousness or in your body. Like when we are chanting a bija mantra for a particular chakra, then we are vibrating the essence of that chakra. But yeah, one is essence. So let's try not to go too far away, and let's stay into the one dot, one point, one seed. I mentioned unit, but also unique. In fact, many words which start with uni, like unity or unison, like when several people chant all together at one tone, at one same sound, unison. But yeah, what was the other one? Unique as well. Singular. Yeah, that's a singular person. And you know what? The one being the stone and the earth has mass, which creates gravity around it. Yeah, a gravity field around it. So things are attracted to that. So being unique in a way has its own mass. And some people will feel a certain attraction to that one point, and it can become like things may orbit around it later on. That's later on. I mean, the one doesn't even care about other things. It's just one. If this one is trying to be unique, then it's comparing itself to others to be different, and that's something else. But if this one is calling upon its own essence, tuning into this essential quality which makes it unique, without care for how the others see it, that one is going to create a massive amount of gravity, and gravity attracts things. So you're going to attract your destiny, you're going to attract opportunities, you're going to attract people to you. But that's if you just care about your essence and manifesting your essence and tuning into your essence, rather than, let me be different from others. Yeah, when we are little in school, we try to compare ourselves to others, and sometimes we try to fit in. Most of the times, yeah, it's a lot of the behavior is linked to the brain wanting to fit in. It's a survival thing. But also we have to understand this. There is some qualities that makes us unique. And how interesting that many people in the world will say that even in company with others, they feel lonely. They feel lonely. Now we are going into lonely. I mentioned lonely is not the same as alone. But the thing is, if we tune into the quality of alone, not the lonely, but the alone, then in the end, in the very end, all of us are alone in the universe, in a way. Yes, we're all connected. Yes, I can card. Yes, all that. But in a way, you're alone. You have your own path. You have your own journey, your own life, your own death, your own decisions to take and mistakes to make and lessons to learn and so on and so forth. But it is just you. It's you on yourself. And so am I. And so is him and her and everybody else. And the thing that joins all of us is that we all feel alone, which is interesting, yeah, that we all feel alone is the thing that connects all of us. Ekagrata, one-pointedness? Yes, that's right. That's one of the qualities that we develop in yoga. One point of attention, one point of meditation. That's going to take us to samadhi, which is understanding the self and understanding the essence. And yes, we cannot find our true essence, this essential aspect within us, and connect to our soul if we are dispersed. So definitely one-pointedness. So this is a good exercise for one-pointedness as well. I will understand if some people get bored with the video and they want to skip to another video more interesting and more entertaining. But the number one doesn't try to entertain you. It's just there. This is it. You may feel attracted to it, or you may feel bored. Bored is also like, he's not doing anything, And that's the mind questioning the qualities of number one, who is just stable, steady, still, and not doing anything. He's humble. Not pretending to do anything big, not even trying to show off what it can be, yeah? Even if it's an acorn, look, I can be a big oak. No, it's just there. Just simple, one point. Simple, that's another word. Simple. We mentioned basic and single, but also simple. It's just simple. No complicated. And look, all these qualities we are saying, they are going to be relevant to you if you have the number one in your date of birth. So if you were born on the first month, like we are right now in January, or you were born on the first day, or the 11th, or something like that, which has two ones. Yeah? In astronumerology, Sun is related to number one. Okay. I don't know what kind of numerology is that one. But if you have a number one in your date of birth, then these qualities that we are saying, yeah, the things are simple, the essential, uncomplicated. Yeah, that's number one. When somebody, makes a big explanation about something, you're like, oh, just give me the facts. Yeah, facts is What happened? The what? The one thing. You want to know what the elements were of what happened. That's the one. What happened? Yeah, don't tell me the whole story about it. Don't tell me your emotions about it. Don't create a big drama or anything. Just tell me what happened. Tell me the elements. Simple. And sometimes the simplicity, it manifests by the lack of decoration. Yeah, you will see like a simple house, like these minimalist approaches, these very Japanese style rooms that is quite empty. Yeah? Just simple, nothing superfluous. Non-duality. Duality implies two. Yes, in the one, there's no duality. And I mentioned unique and unity and many words which start with uni, like uniform. Uniform, eh? All the same, all like one, all the same. Non-attachment, Satnam Infinite Stories, hello, welcome. Yes, I mean, if there was attachment, there would have to be one thing to get attached to. So in the one, there is no attachment, there is no detachment. Actually, there is, I would say, is even not even non-attachment, because there's nothing else to be attached to. It's just attached to itself, let's say. It's just anchored in itself, we could say it. One point is the anchor. The anchor is the one thing that we put it on the surface of the sea to stay stable for the ship in the middle of the rough seas. Satnam, yeah. So this is one point stable. That's the anchoring. And when you are looking for an anchor outside, that's when you either get attached or you exercise non-attachment or you fall into detachment. But here is even beyond all those three. It's just anchored in itself, one thing. You are your own center of gravity, in a way, which is not selfish. I'm not talking about egocentric. One infinity, in a way, infinity is within the one, but it's all contained in the one. But infinity is number 8, so infinity is a lot of stuff. We haven't got there. We haven't gotten there yet. We're still in the very origins. And the mind wants to run quickly, moving on towards other places, but just one. There can't be more than one infinity, otherwise it is an infinity. Good one. Okay, great. So there is a unity within the infinity. Good. What else? Going back to lonely, I heard yesterday that being chronically lonely is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Oh, that's pretty bad. Nasty. All right. And yet, when we get to number 2, we will talk about that, because sad is not bad. And you can utilize the energy of loneliness to empower your practice. So yoga, a lot of what we do in yoga is learn to channel the emotion, including the emotional loneliness, into your devotion, from emotion to devotion. So it doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be make you ill, if you can channel it and you can utilize it. But that's coming in number 2. We are far away still from that place. But okay, going back to lonely, it may be interesting to explore what it does it mean to be alone. And again, if you have this number 1 in the date of birth, do you spend time with yourself, by yourself, alone, without trying to distract yourself or entertain you or, with Netflix or YouTube or whatever you use, but can you just be with yourself? What happens if you do that? We would see then sequences of things originating from there. Yeah, we would see what starts from the one. And we would probably go into 1, 2, 3, 4. We would see sequences like that, which we will explore in this course that we are going to be doing. Today is the first video of a course, a new course on number 1. And we will explore these things in the sequences as well. But today we are just sticking. That's another one. Sticking steady, still on this one exercise, on the number 1. If one is a stone, it can be also petrified. Yeah, remember I mentioned you could be asleep or you can be relaxed, but it's also petrified sometimes, like you're not moving, you're staying that one. I guess when I was a kid, I was smoking a lot. You mean you were very lonely? All right. That's all right. That's the one thing that unites all of us. We are all alone in this world. So you need unity, unique, unison, uniform, yeah, all the same form. And yeah, universal connects as well. But again, that's going into the 10. Yes. You can recognize that universal means something bigger. So it's already jumping into the 10. In order to understand the difference between 1 and 10, you have to do this exercise fully on every number from the 1 to the 10. When you get to the 10, then you understand, oh, those things I was looking at 1, like complete and universal, that's the 10. That's happening in the 10. When you're in the 1, it may feel like in the 1, but not yet, not yet. If you can, just stare at the point. Alone a lot, yes. The alpha, yes, the beginning. That's right. The alpha. Yeah, you can see, sometimes they make a series of movies and they become popular. And then they make a movie explaining the origins of that character. I'm thinking about some heroes movies, yeah? And then, the origins. It's like, well, the comic books, when they explore, I don't know, Wolverine origins, right? And you go to the origins of that particular character from the cartoon. And then that's a very interesting, I want to see that. That's very attractive because it has its gravity, yeah? We gravitate towards that. It has heaviness to know where it all started. What was the alpha of the story? Singularity. Nice. Okay. So we said singularity would be in a way as well. Lately meditation, I see the blackness with a tiny, tiny pinprick of light. Just a dot like you have. I've tried to focus on it, but when I do it just goes away. Where do you focus your eyes when you meditate? Is it on the, I mean, um, this ekagrata that Infinity was mentioning before, the one-pointedness, this in meditation is important to keep us steady on one point. Generally, we focus on the tip of the nose or the third eye. And sometimes when you focus on the third eye, you may see one point of light, or you may see a little star, and you can just stay focused on that. But don't worry too much if it disappears. If you focus on the point of the tip of the nose, you may see a blue dot over there. That's the blue pearl. That's something else. Try to focus on the third eye. Yeah, that's quite common. When you concentrate on the third eye to see a point of light, that would be quite common. If you see it clearly, you can focus on it. Otherwise, just keep the eyes focused. Don't worry about it. Don't try to chase it. Right, one point. You can do that. You can now focus the eyes on one point. This is what we call this. It's a kind of meditation, yeah, where we are just focusing the eyes. It's called Tratakam. Just look at one point. Look at this one point in the screen, and what does it say? Doesn't have to say anything, right? It's just stable, steady. Doesn't need to manifest anything. So it has no needs. Interesting, eh? Nothing, it needs nothing. It lacks nothing. I mentioned the word anchor before. Just looking at this one point is like an anchor to all the thoughts and the feelings that may rise and may float around. Just looking at it is just anchoring ourselves. You gotta go? Oh yeah, no problem. Hasta luego. Ciao, infinity. Till next time. Do the exercise by yourself. So it's an anchor. It's one point of stability. When we are in the middle of wrath, seas, with a lot of movement, and seas is water, that's number two, you have to ask yourself, what is my anchor in life? Because if you are feeling very emotionally unstable, then you may need a stronger anchor. I've heard the blackness in meditation called point consciousness. Is this correct? I haven't heard that term. I don't know. This is one, number one. We already said many words, huh? Unique, uniform, stable, simple, single, unity, still, stone, strong, steady. Gravity. heaviness, unmovable. One is asleep, one is the earth, and we come back to the earth to sleep. Yeah, we lay down in our bed. Our bedroom is number one. Our homes are one. This one anchor in the middle of the world where we can come back every day at night and then we can rest in that place. Yeah, resting, that's one. When I stare at it for a while, I get a ghost of it moving around the black dot. Yeah, that's something with the eyes. That's something that the eyes do. Yeah, it's what I mentioned at the beginning. I don't know if you were here, but it's interesting when we do this exercise that sometimes we are seeing the one, sometimes we notice our capacity to see the one. So the eyes come into the exercise, and our sight and our view comes into the exercise. So what you are describing is something that happens because of our eyes. You can also do the exercise with the eyes closed, just imagining one point. But don't fall asleep, because remember, one is stable and steady, but that's also asleep. So that's the one thing when we concentrate on one point in meditation, it's how often do we have this tendency to feel sleepy. And it might be also because we are touching the deepest parts of the consciousness. And we know the deepest part is the unconscious. So when you concentrate on one point, it's natural that a part of us is feeling going asleep. So one point is not empty. In a way, it's full of potential, but nothing manifested yet. Everything unmanifested. It's not pretending to be big. It's not trying to do anything. Just humble, simple. But the one seed can be crushed, sometimes under the weight of things around, circumstances or people around. So humble, but be careful not to be stepped on. Yeah, well, those who have the number one in the date of birth, can you tune into that quality of being small and one? But I mentioned before, it's also heavy. It has value, it has weight in the world, it has gravity. Can you tune into that quality of number one and develop that thing we sometimes call gravitas in people? Yeah, those who they have some strength, some force that is attracting us towards them, like a gravity. So you have gravitas, not being one small little dot that everybody can step on, that everybody can squeeze and squash. Yeah, so we are like one little seed, but don't feel that seed has no value. That would be a judgment on it. And that would be the mind doing the judgment on it, the ego, yeah? But apart from that, if you tune into that one, humbly, simply, in simple ways, not complicated, tuning into the potential that it has, just being, its own essence, just being, just existing, beyond life and death. Remember, this is before time. So there's one aspect of us that is atemporal. In a way, that's also connected to infinity. So that quality is atemporal. It's before we were born in this life, after we die in this life. That quality, that has this gravitas I was mentioning. Being anchored in yourself, in your essence, in your own essence. So if you say something, you can just say it, and that's it. You don't expect it to be heard. You don't expect people to react in any way, or to accept it or not accept it. Doesn't matter. You have to say something, you say something. That's it. It's just anchored in your own essence. Then that one can become the foundation for many. But in a way, that one will always need some time to be alone. Even if it's surrounded by people, it will need sometimes to just feel connected to alone. I mean, one doesn't have necessities, doesn't need to be alone, but those who have the one in the date of birth will feel that it's an essential part of themselves to be with themselves alone. So it will be good to find time to do that. And then when you do that, not go into the more karmic aspect of the one, the passivity and sleepy and meaningless, like anybody can crush you. Not go into that one, not go into humiliation. Just stay in the one. Inhale and exhale. All right. Well, that was the exercise. We did almost an hour of this video already, so I invite you to do it again on your own without following the video, just by yourself. Just find any time and do the exercise by yourself and see what comes up and write it down. My human design chart was spot on, calling me a hermit, opportunist, meaning I do best when I have time alone, but also crave being around people from time to time. All right. Yeah, it's good to get to know ourselves and to understand things that are important for us, and then satisfy those basic needs and see the direction that we are moving on to. So yes, anything that can brings us insight into ourselves, that's good. So hopefully this was useful to find a lot of language to the number one. And again, if you want to do this course and you participate in it, take a notebook and do a dictionary of numbers and find one page for the 1 and 9, another page for the 2 and 8. This is something I introduced when we were talking, I believe, on number 5. This is the third course on numbers. You will find, if this is the first video you watch, you should check in the channel. You will see a course on Karam Kriya number 7 and Karam Kriya number 5. And then this is the third one on number 1. And there is a reason why we go in this order. In the first video of the 7, I explained the reason. But on the course on number 5, I was mentioning, I did an introduction on all the numbers. In a way, if you've watched those videos, you already have an introduction to all the numbers. But this is the time to start going deeper. So if you have a notebook and you would like to explore this in more depth, then find one or two pages for the 1 and 9, a few pages for the 2 and 8, a few pages for the 3 and 7, and for the 4 and 6 and 5 and 10. And with today's video, you are going to get a lot of words that are associated to the number 1. And that's going to be useful later on to explore more what we know about numbers, to explore sequences and understand beta date of births and so on. So anyway, that was the exercise. I hope it's useful. I've done it many times. This is one of the first exercises that made me go deeper into Karam Kriya by myself when I was doing it in India. And it was such a beautiful meditation just to sit down with one piece of paper, one dot in the page, and just write down everything that comes up. And I invite everyone to do this. So anyway, thank you very much, everyone. This is only the beginning of number 1, the 1.1, the first exercise of number 1 in the first month of the year. And we'll carry on next week. And I'm not sure whether I will do this every Tuesday, but I will do another on next week on the second video of number 1. Thank you very much, and until next time, Sanam.